Hey everyone, welcome to another video. I would like to create a new video series on the Call of Duty API. We're almost a year further, and we've seen pop up some different tools like the COD Warzone tracker, the skill-based matchmaking Warzone tool where you can find average lobby KDs, and the Warzone ranked, which has some nice progress graphs. These are all very nice tools, but today we'll be showing you how to authenticate to the Call of Duty API so you can get your data yourself. This will be a video, the first video of a series where I will be showing you how to authenticate, and in the follow-up videos I would like to go through stuff like how to get your match, the matches, the Warzone matches history, for example, how to pull the entire history. In another video I'd like to talk about the different ways of getting profiles. So if you'd like to see more in the future, you can please like and subscribe, like everyone asks. Now to get started, so Call of Duty API authentication. There's some very nice documentation that was created by MD Lindsay and iShot. I have it here. It's in Postman. I will be putting it in the description of the video so you can always check back and find this documentation. I also have a GitHub repository where all my code will be written down. So for reference, or if you want to check up on the code later, this will be available. I will also be doing my examples in Python today. So this will also be a great introduction or a great tutorial on how to work with Python, more specific on the requests module. As you can see here in Postman, if you'd like, it has examples for many different languages, showing some snippets on the right side, like how to actually use the API, what parameters to pass. I will be running my code in a Python notebook. This is a way of running small snippets and documenting them. That's also what's on my GitHub projects. There are also notebooks, you can download them. There are installation instructions. If you're still not sure on how to run them or how to install them, feel free to ask me, and I'll try to help you. So let's get started. So the Call of Duty API authentication. So documentation here. First, I will be showing two methods on how to authenticate. So first step I will be doing is importing. 1 minute, I'll change my scene. So import the sessions, import the requests module, and also the OS module. So requests is the Python module that I'll be using to create the HTTP requests, and the OS module I'll just use to get my password and my email address from the environment variable, so I don't have to show it here in the video or commit it to GitHub. So what do we need first? So let's check the documentation. The first step is to actually get the login page. When you get the login endpoint, this will return a CRSF token. The server will send this back in the response. What is a CRSF token? It's a cross-site request forgery. Is an attack vector in which third parties can claim to be you. So the server has to give you a token, and that token has to be used in subsequent requests, so you can prove that it's all within the same session. So we get this page, we get the CRSF token. With this CRSF token, we will be able to then actually log in. So do a post request to on the do login endpoint, where we'll have to pass some more information like username, password, remember me, and then token. So let's go ahead. We will start by creating a new session object. So session is functionality of requests where it will actually keep the cookies in the session, reuse the same TCP connection, so it will be faster. The full documentation can be found. I will also link it in the description. It's very nice. It makes the development or doing the requests much easier. So the first step, we'll have to get the... Oh, no, it's the other one. The login page. So this will create a GET request. We don't need to store the response. It will be done for us automatically because we're doing the GET from the session that was instantiated. Then for the subsequent requests, we'll have to, for the actual login, we have to pass some data. In some URL params. First, I'll just be defining sorry. So we'll go ahead and we'll add a username. So like I said before, we will be getting this from the environment variables. So I export my COD password and my COD email in the terminal where I started the notebook, so I don't have to type it in here. And then our password, same thing. COD password. Third, we will be putting remember me to true. This will keep... Oh. So... And then finally, we will pass along the CRSF token in the URL params. And we will be getting this from the cookies. Because this will be returned by the previous request and will be stored in the session. We can reuse it here. And then finally, we can do our post call to the URL as documented here. I don't know why it always adds the return, the character, the new line, I mean. So we pass the params. And this should be it. When we run this, we should be able, we should be logged in actually. So let's see. And I made a mistake. What did I do wrong? Oh, of course, we are making a dictionary. Rookie mistake. There we go. It's running. Seems to take some time. Hopefully it's working. At least we got a 200 HTTP response, so this means the call or it was okay. The request was successful. Now let's see if the tokens we need for future calls to the private endpoints are in the response or in the cookies. So as you can see, private routes. What will we need to call or to get our identity? You will have to pass the account single sign-on cookie, which will be returned when logging in. The expiry time. So when does this cookie expire? And then finally a token. Not sure what this one for is actually, the extra access token. I suppose you have to renew this one from time to time, not sure. Anyway, let's have a look at our cookies. So here you can see, voila, the cookie we need for future requests. And using Python requests, you can actually just pass along the cookies from the session. Oh, I mean, not even have to, you don't have to pass them along, let's say it like that, because it's automatically included in the session. So for example, if you'd like to have a look at your profile data, so here I'll be using the endpoint I have prepared. So to get my profile information, if you look at the documentation, it's this one. So Warzone profile by UNO-ID. So UNO-ID is a unique identifier used by Call of Duty to have to be able to identify everyone. So a URI encoded string of the platform specific username. So I'll be using that one just for testing purposes to see if we are properly authenticated to then request my private profile data. So again, I will be doing a get requests. Let's see. Response. You'll put it in a response object, and then we'll just, I know from running this before, it will return JSON. And let's run it. And there we go. Status success. And here's all my data. So I specifically asked for my Warzone data. Somewhere here there should be my kill death ratio. Yeah, you still have the different modes, but here is actually the battle royale. So as you can see, I'm still a little scrub. Only a 2022 wins and a KD of 1.01. So this is the very short way to authenticate using the requests session object. Very easy, very short. Now to get a bit more into detail, I will show you the longer version of authenticating without using a session. So let's just scrub this, and we'll keep this part. Now where to start? So we still, again, we have to get the login page. So this time I will be storing the responses in response objects. So requests.get, and then again, the login page. Where was it? Initialize. So create a GET request to this page to acquire the CRSF token. And the XCSRF token. And then I get a login. Maybe I will call it. It's okay. So the request module in this case will be storing the response in the get login object. We can then, it supports the cookies method where we can request all the cookies from the response. So in this case, we want to store the CRSF token in the CRSF token variable. So let's go ahead and do this. In the response, it's called the XRSF token. It's the same. It's cross-site, cross C or X. Let's do this call. Let's inspect if the token was actually stored. And there it is. So great success. Now, next step will be the same as before, but we'll have to manually set the cookies and pass them along. So again, we'll be creating a data dictionary which to pass as to pass the URL params. I could as well name them params, and then create the new dictionary. A username. I should have copied this part. Get passwords, another typo, of course this has to be email. Be sure to set username here and not email, because it requests the Call of Duty expects this to be named username. The field has to be named username and not email. I've made this mistake before. And then again, the remember me. So your cookie is valid for a longer period of time. True. And then finally the CRSF token. And there we go. That's our params dictionary. Then we have to actually log in. I will call this post login requests.post. So that's an HTTP post request, because we'll be actually posting data to the Call of Duty API. We'll be sending data like when we fill in a form and send the data. This will be then parsed by Call of Duty and used to log in. Where was I? So we copy the login URL There we go. And the difference without using the session object will be that we have to pass along the cookies in this call explicitly. So the get login dot cookies, and that should be it. Ta-da, let's go. It's finished. Let's add another cell. Now we would expect to have the account SSO cookie and the expire cookie and the token. So the three parts we need for future requests. So let's see if we have them. And unfortunately, we don't have them. So at first I was a bit surprised by this, but then looking further, I found out that actually when logging in, when posting to this URL, you'll get redirected twice, meaning that the tokens we need was returned, was in the response of the first, before the first redirection, and not in the final response objects. So it's not found here. If you, for example, look at the history, you'll see there's two other response objects. If you want to inspect them, you can just, as a list, let's just look at the first one, and then cookies, and tada, there are the cookies we need. So when using the requests session object, this will all be stored automatically for you in the session. Very easy. Of course, if you don't use a session, then you will have to know this or find this out, that actually the single sign-on cookie and the expire one are returned in the first response, and are not in the final response after redirection. So that's a bit tricky. It can be a bit tricky at first, and then we'll have to, of course, use this. These cookies in our future calls to be able to actually get data from the private endpoints. Another way to, because we only need those tokens, we can add allow redirects false option to the post request, and then will only be the process will stop at the first page, at the first response, which actually contains the tokens we need, and that will be it. So we execute this. See, okay, yes, an HTTP request of type 302, which is a redirect. This will contain the cookies we need. Yes, it's here. So this call will have to update. As we're not using a session, we'll have to pass the cookies, post login dot cookies, and that should be it. There we go. We get our data again. Voila. It's a bit longer version, as we are storing the responses ourselves and then getting the cookies from those responses to reuse them in subsequent API calls. Voila. This is the first method of authentication. Now there's a second one. I just keep it short. It's not documented. I don't actually also remember where I found out. Let me check. So first part. So let me all clear. Maybe I'll keep this part. The second way of authenticating, import random. We'll need one part extra. As you will be needing a device ID, we'll be generating a random device ID. This it's also a security measure that's used sometimes is you have to register a trusted device from which you can access your data or you can do requests. So I guess this is another level of sort of security where, for example, you register a device ID from which you don't have to pass a test or have to do two-factor authentication or that kind of stuff. Random dot get rand bits 128. Like I said, I don't actually remember where I found this. It's not that important. It's just another way of authenticating. So we generate a random device ID. We have to pass this device ID in the payload. Most of the time, people find this kind of stuff out by using the browser. You can go to your web developer tools and then actually inspect the calls you do when, for example, accessing or going to the login page of Call of Duty. Have a look at what actual data is passed along, that kind of stuff. So, where is it? It's just callofduty.com. If you do a request to Call of Duty, you toggle the tools. So let's just, I'm not sure, was it like this? Go to the login page, then you'll see all the requests that get done. You'll be able to like check which cookies. Well, apparently I just it's a wrong URL. Anyway, here is the part where you can find out stuff, what gets returned when you log in, what are you passing along, that kind of stuff. And that's how we build the documentation. Or people use Wireshark to check like the Call of Duty, if a Call of Duty client, what calls do they do to the backend. Anyway, back to our second method of authentication, device ID, and that's it. Here we'll have to first register our device. I have the endpoint here. It's not documented in the Postman documentation, but you can find it on my GitHub if you want. So how am I gonna call this? Requests.post. And then, of course, this has to be passed along as JSON. This will return an authentication token, which can be found in the device response. So I'm sorry, it will return a JSON, and in that JSON we'll have to look for what am I doing? For the in the data, and then the will be an auth header. Voila. So this will, when you post to this endpoint register device, passing along a random device ID, you will get like a response which contains a JSON which has a auth header field that we'll have to store in an auth token for our next requests. And then the following calls, we will still need this part. We don't need those two. We'll also have to pass the previous, we have to pass the device ID and the token, the auth token in headers. Again, not used to this keyboard layout. So we'll have to pass along a authorization header containing, so we'll format the string bearer, and then again the auth token. And then our device ID. Again, this part, how did we find out? Trial and error, looking at the calls made with Wireshark or with by opening the developer tools and have a look at what requests are being made, which data is passed along. There we go. I think that should be it. And then again, we can actually log in. This time we're not passing cookies, but we're passing request headers. Also, you will see that this endpoint is a bit different from the first authentication method. Ta-da! First part should be the same, profile.conv.com, but then here this is a bit different. I think I have everything. Let's try this. No mistakes. Take some time. Oh, there we are. And there we go. In my cookies, I have. Do I have what I need? I'm not sure actually. Don't think so. Let's see. But no, I don't think we have what we need. Something went wrong. Or not. Okay, so apparently I'm not sure why it's working. Maybe my cookies were still stored in the old object. Let's just rename this like posts. Or to keep so this is the response from logging in. Response, login response. First re-execute this. Take some time. Let's hope it works. And if not, we'll have to find out why. It's finished now. I don't immediately see the single sign-on cookies. So we have the login response. So we'll have to pass those cookies. So yeah, apparently that works. So I suppose this works differently. Not sure actually. Like I said, this method I found somewhere. Don't remember where actually. But it works. So that should be it. We are in. Voila, thanks, and I hope you guys learned something, or it's more clear on how to authenticate. And I look forward to seeing you in one of my next videos. Thank you. That's it. See you.